Shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good morning,
Good afternoon.
everyone. I, on behalf of Citizen Consumer Club of Shri Krishnaswamy College for national level webinar on awareness of food adulteration. I feel privileged to introduce our guest speaker for the day, Mr. V. Anandakumar. He is technology, Chennai, and also the Learning Management System Coordinator, School of Law, SIST. He had clear UGC NET in the subject of law. He has 5 years teaching and research experience in the field of corporate laws and consumer laws. He was appointed as an academic counselor for the Indira Gandhi Open University courses for teaching the subject of consumer protections, laws, cyber laws, and information technology. He has worked as a research technology. He has worked as a research associate in the Chair of Excellence on Consumer Law and Jurisprudence in the Tamil Nadu Dr. Ambedkar Law University, Chennai. He has also delivered various special lectures as a resource person. He is also a resource person in the University of Madras for regular courses, Institute of Distance Education in the teaching the subject of cyber laws and intellectual property rights. Few notable academic achievements such as winning first prize in competition organized by Indian Institute of Arbitration and Meditation, New Delhi, in association with Asia Pacific Center for Arbitration and Meditation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope I'm audible to all you people, the participants. So, this program organized by Krishnaswamy College of Women is purely aimed for infusing consumer awareness throughout the country, particularly with respect to the young students and their minds with respect to consumer awareness and other related concepts. Now, in this today session, we are we are going to discuss about sorry for the interruption. Now, this program is mainly aimed to celebrate the 39th World Consumer Rights Day, which was being celebrated on March 15th of every year. Now, in this particular session, we are going to realize or analyze the importance of consumer rights in today's trend. The theme, which was proposed by the Consumers International, which is an international organization for protecting the consumer rights and which advocates the rights of consumers in different fields, has proposed a theme for 2022, that is March 15, 2022, for the celebration of World Consumer Rights Day, is that self banking and self banking and self insurance and other reliances. Now, this theme is purely focused to ensure transparency in banking and online transactions, which a person, that is a consumer, is doing in online platforms. And secondly, this theme is mainly ensured to recoup and recover the economic and all other activities by means of e-commerce. Now, in from the year 2016, India was effectively into its e-commerce activities. The e-commerce activities such as purchase or trade of goods or services by means of online platforms. Now, the good online platforms or the well-known online platforms which our people are realizing in the today's e-technology or e-world is the Paytm, PhonePe, Google Pay, and Flipkart and all other online platforms. Every human being a prudent consumer, is purchasing a product and he becomes a consumer. This consumer is otherwise called as king of the market because he is the one who is determining the market by means of production, by means of supply, and by means of all other related activities. So, Mahatma Gandhi ji, in his autobiography, he quotes that consumer is the king in a market because he is the one deciding factor in deciding the goodwill and reputation of a company, that is a manufacturing unit. So the consumption level of an individual increases, and this increases the margin or profit level of the industry. So this consumer is called as the king of market. Apart from this, now we have a question: who is the consumer? One. Secondly, what are the rights that will be covered under the Consumer Protection Act 2019 for protecting the rights of consumers? Second. Third, we must understand the role of two different personalities who played a vital role in realizing realizing the consumers' awareness throughout the world, and those two personalities are as follows. One is Ralph Nadal. The contribution of Ralph Nadal in consumer advocacy or protecting the rights of consumer plays a vital role. Secondly, the role of former US President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who played a vital role in fixing this particular date, that is March 15, as the consumer that like the World Consumer Rights Day. So we are going to analyze the role and activities. Like we are going to analyze the role of these two personalities, which led to celebrating the World Consumer Rights Day throughout the world at throughout the world on March 15th of every year. Now, who is this person? Ralph Nader. Ralph Nader, who is a renowned politician and a consumer rights advocate in the United States. He is otherwise called as the advocate of consumer, who stressed the importance of consumer rights in all relevant fields where consumer is treated as a king. Now, in this discussion, Ralph Nadal, right, his contribution plays a vital role for our special day, that is World Consumer Rights Day. Ralph Nadal, who is called as the consumer advocate, he advocated the rights of consumers in all fields right from his law graduation. That is, he has completed his law degree in 1956, and from that 1956 he started his advocacy towards protecting the rights of consumers in all sectors such as automobile, insurance, banking, and all other different fields which falls within the scope of consumer. Ralph Nadal, who after completing his LLB, he started his advocacy towards towards the secondary automobile spare parts and products which are manufactured by the automobile industries in USA. So the the concerned issue which he raised throughout the territory of United States is purely confined with the automobile spare parts manufacturing and the automobile industry, because this poor quality of automobile spare parts and automobile automobiles which were manufactured by the companies, the industries in United States, led to exorbitant number of deaths. So when an accident happens, the death the death ratio in United States, that was more, relatively more when compared to the other normal days. So this raised a particular concern in the mind of Ralph Nader, where he started his advocacy with respect to manufacturing of poor quality like automobile and automobile spare parts. And this led him to write a book in the year 1966, which reads like, the name of the book is that Unsafe at All Speeds. The name of the book, which was written by Ralph Nader, is Unsafe at All Speeds. Now, his book purely focused on the speed levels, the speed governance of automobiles which were manufactured by the industries in United States. So these speed levels, be it high or be it low, when a consumer meets with an accident, his probability of death is high. So this raised a concern upon the automobile sector by Ralph Nader, and this book was released in the year 1966, which raised which increased the alarming awareness of consumer advocacy throughout the state of United States, and this forced the United States government to enact a separate law for motor vehicle safety. So this is his first contribution towards the consumer awareness as a consumer advocate. One. Secondly, he was appointed as the Minister for Department of Labor in the United States. And his consumer advocacy has continued with respect to the all other levels. That is, he has enacted, he has proposed a separate law, which is US California law, which also speaks about the auto insurance rates. So his contribution towards the consumer awareness, it has begun with the automobile spare parts, and slowly he has entered into the field of banking and insurance auto rates. Next, he he and his colleagues, his associates, they have not they have not defined the term consumer, but however, they have enlarged the scope of the term consumer by conducting various researches, various studies, and various other activities, which led the United States government to enact laws throughout the territory of United States. So his major recommendations, his major activities and research contributed towards the development of consumer laws in the United States in 1900s. So this is his contribution towards the growth of consumer rights in United States as well as throughout the world. Now, the reason for locating Rafael Nadal's importance in this special day is that after 1950s, where our country, including all other colonial countries within the rule of British, we were we were realizing the importance of human rights and all other rights to certain extent. But after 1956, the first country to advocate the rights of consumers is the United States. That is through the advocacy of Ralph Nader. So his contribution towards the growth of consumerism or consumer rights plays a vital role, and we should remember his contribution in the special day, in celebrating the special day, World Consumer Rights Day. One. Second person, Franklin D. Roosevelt, who was the former president of USA. So this person, while he was addressing the Congress special session, he he included a word about consumer rights in the year 1963. So, in the year 1963, while addressing a special Congress session, he has included the rights of consumer in a special speech. This speech later led to celebrate this March 15 as the World Consumer Rights Day. So after his speech, the rights of consumers, it has been celebrated. That is, the World Consumer Rights Day was celebrated from March 15, 1983. So we are entering into the 39th year of the World Consumer Rights Day, that is March 15, 2022. So this two personalities had a great influence in developing the rights of consumers throughout the era of consumerism. Next, we want to understand who is the consumer and how the rights of consumers is being addressed in a special field when it comes to the Consumer Protection Act in India. Now, before moving on to the definition of who is a consumer, now we must understand the concept of consumerism before 1986 in India and after 1986 in India. Now, when it comes to before 1986, the concept of consumerism was like there is a legal maxim which every law student should understand, every law student will learn when he is learning a law. The maxim is caveat emptor. The maxim is caveat emptor, which means let the buyer beware. Let the buyer be aware. So the meaning of this maxim is the maxim caveat emptor is let the buyer beware. Buyer beware. Now this maxim it imposes complete liability upon the consumers, that is the consumers when he is purchasing a product or availing any services, he or she must understand the quality, quantity, potency and purity of such goods which he is going to purchase. And if any default occurs while purchasing the said products, then the seller or the manufacturer will not be liable. So this was the scenario of consumerism before 1986. Now, after 1986, that is post Consumer Protection Act 1986, the idea of caveat emptor, it has seen in a transfer, like it has transformed into the separate ideology, that is, let the seller beware, that is caveat vendita. Caveat vendita, which means the seller beware. Let the seller beware or be aware. Now, after the Consumer Protection Act 1986, it imposes equal liability upon the seller as well as the buyer while purchasing a goods. Now, seller being a manufacturer or any form of person who is transacting with the goods or service, he must ensure that the quality, quantity, potency and purity of the object or services which he is selling for the money. So this is his duty, that is seller's duty or manufacturer's duty is to bring an awareness about the product which is selling. Secondly, what are all the ingredients, what are all the quality, quantity, potency and purity of the said material, that is the said product which he is selling or the said services which he is selling. And on the other hand, the buyer has a liability also to realize the potency, purity and all other safety standards. Now, when we are coming to this particular discussion, now the Consumer Protection Act 1986, it clearly emphasized that the buyer and seller will have a mutual responsibility, that is Uberima fight, utmost good faith in ensuring transactions, be it online or be it an e-commerce or offline mode purchasing. So, if a person is purchasing or availing any services by paying some amount, by paying some money, then he will be called as consumer. And after purchasing the product, the liability will be sticked on not only to the buyer but also to the seller, because he is selling the particular goods or services for money. So this is the ideology which was invoked, which was seen before 1986, that is before the Consumer Protection Act 1986 and the post Consumer Protection Act 1986. Now, the theme which which was announced for this particular day is food adulteration, the adulteration which happens in most of the food items and all other food products which we are consuming. Now, when it comes to this particular discussion, first, when it comes to the food adulteration, there is a separate authority, the central government authority to regulate the food safety standards. The authority's name is Food Safety Standards Authority of India, which was incorporated under the FSSAI Act, FSSAI Act, that is Food Safety Standards Authority of India Act. So this act plays a crucial role in fixing standards for manufacturing food products or for manufacturing food items in a prescribed standards to ensure quality, quantity, purity and potency of the product which the seller is selling. So apart from this, this authority is entrusted with various roles when it comes to the consumerism or protecting the rights of consumerism with respect to quality, ensuring the quality in food products and all other connected food items. This authority is responsible to instruct all the manufacturer to include, first is the quantity of the product which a company is selling. Secondly, secondly, he must ensure the quality, that is expiry date for the product should be included. Third thing is price of the item which he is selling, right? Third. So first is quality, second is quantity, third is price, fourth is the ingredients in the food products. So what are all the ingredients that the manufacturing company has added or it has included in ensuring the quality, right? So in ensuring the taste and quality and all other connected aspects. So First is quality, second is quantity, third is price, fourth is uh, uh, fourth yes, fourth is ingredients which was being included in the said food product, and fifth is this product, the product, it should bear the expiry date for each and every circumstance. That is, if the product was manufactured in a particular date, then such manufacturing product should have an expiry date, which ensures that consumers should look into the label for the purpose of understanding the expiry date. So all these five things should be made clear when a manufacturer is selling a food product or food item under the regulations framed by the Food Safety Standards Authority of India. So the five things: one is quality of the product, quality of the food item; second is quantity; third thing is price; fourth is ingredients of the said products, and fifth is the expiry. So all these five things should be seen when a person, when a prudent consumer is purchasing a product or availing any services from the company or any other service sectors. So this is one part of our discussion which assumes importance in this particular discussion. Secondly, we must understand the definition of the term consumer for the purpose of interpreting the awareness and for the purpose of getting redressal mechanisms or for availing any remedies when a consumer is facing a dispute with the manufacturing company. So, the term consumer is defined under section 21D of Consumer Protection Act 1986. But however, the Consumer Protection Act 1986 was overruled, and now we have a new legislation in the same name, that is Consumer Protection Act 2019. So now we are bound to follow the provisions of Consumer Protection Act 2019 for our study. So, in this Act, Consumer Protection Act 2019, Section 2, Clause 9, Section 2, Clause 9 of the said Consumer Protection Act 2019, it deals about the term consumer. Now, the definition, it clearly interprets that consumer is a person, consumer is one who avails goods or purchases any goods or avails any services. So we must observe the two words in this definition for the purpose of interpreting the scope of consumers throughout the territory of India. Now, the definition of the term consumers, which was interpreted under the Consumer Protection Act 2019, that is Section 2, Clause 9, which speaks that consumer is one who purchases any goods or avails any services for a paid consideration, that is, for a paid money. So the definition is very clear. Consumer is a person who purchases any goods or avails any services for the money paid. Now, this definition has a clear exception which tells that one who buys a product for commercial purposes, right? One who buys any product for commercial purposes, then he will not be treated as a consumer. Now, the definition is very clear. Section 2, Clause 9 of the Consumer Protection Act 2019, it clearly stipulates the role of consumer, the definition of the term consumer. Consumer is one who consumer is one who buys any goods or avails any services for the money paid, But however, this definition of the term consumer does not include any person who is purchasing goods or availing any services for commercial purpose. Now, we must make this definition very precise and clear. It stipulates two things. One is buying goods, and the second thing is availing any services. Right? But this does not include any persons who is buying any goods or availing any services for commercial purpose, which means that one who is purchasing the said goods will come within the purview or definition of the term consumer only if he is consuming the said goods or using the said services. So the definition is very clear. Consumer is not only the person who is purchasing a product or availing any service, but he must also consume the said goods. He must also consume the said goods or used such services. Only if he is consuming or only if he is only if he is availing such services or using such services, then he will be called as consumer for the purposes of the term consumer under the Consumer Protection Act 2019. So the definition, it clearly interprets two important things. One is purchasing or buying goods. Second is availing services. Now, when there is a defect in the product purchased, a consumer can approach the consumer forum for the defect, for the manufacturing defect or any gross defects which were seen on the part of manufacturing company or the seller. So this is first thing for our understanding. Now, when a person purchasing a good sees any defect in the said product or sees any defect in the said goods which has purchased, then such consumer can file a complaint in the consumer forum, that is district consumer court, for the purpose of invoking or for the purpose of getting his remedy for the defect product which he has purchased for the money paid. One. Second thing is, if the consumer faces any deficiency in the services provided by the said seller or a manufacturing company, then for such deficiency of services, the consumer can file a complaint or a consumer case in the district consumer forums for the purpose of availing the remedy for the said product by. So the definition of the term consumer is very clear. It clearly stipulates that one is buying a product or a good, second is availing a service. Now, under the category of the term product or buying of goods, it includes all food items, all electronic goods, all other purchase items, or any other items, be it clothes or be it electrical items or be it any other items. Now, all these things will fall within the definition of the term goods for the purpose of the term consumer. So, the point is very clear. The terms, that is the objects or the goods which comes within the definition of the term goods will be falling within the purview of the term consumer. So if a consumer finds any defect in the said goods purchased, then he can approach the consumer forums for the purpose of invoking his remedy against the goods purchased. And secondly, for the purpose of availing any services. For example, under the term services, like it includes, one is banking, second is insurance sectors, third is e-commerce transactions which we are doing as a prudent consumer, and fourth is medical negligence, and the fifth is all other services. For example, it also includes telecom authorities, telecom industries, telecom operators, Reliance Jio, Idea, Vodafone, Airtel. So all those things will also be covered within the purview of the term services. So as a whole, the definition of the term consumer, it makes it clear that if a person pays a money, and if he buys any goods or avails any services, then he will be called as consumer for the purpose of the term consumer under the Consumer Protection Act 2019. And the most important point which was included after 2019 under the Consumer Protection Act is that term consumer also includes the consumers who are purchasing a goods on e-commerce. So before the 2019 Act, that is the Consumer Protection Act 2019, there was no scope for the consumers who are purchasing a product under e-commerce. But sudden gradual developments and amendments which forced to interpret and amend the Consumer Protection Act 2019, which clearly included the term e-commerce, or a consumer who is purchasing or availing any goods or services as a consumer through online mode, he will be also be included within the term consumer. So one person who is making online transactions for the purpose of buying any goods or availing any services will also be called as consumer for the purpose of the said act. So with this, we are coming to the end of the definition part, that is the term consumer. Now, apart from the legislative part, that is section 2 clause 9 of Consumer Protection Act, we must also understand the practicality which sticks on with the term consumer. Now, a consumer is a person who has paid a single penny to purchase a product, then he has a right to question the quality, quantity, purity, and potency which was being used in that particular product because he has paid the money. So, this is the reason why we are telling a consumer as a king of the market, right? So, the definition is very clear that consumer is one who purchases any goods or avails any services for the paid amount, that is the paid money, right? So the next part which we must understand from this particular discussion is we have 6 different rights, be it be it food adulteration or be it any kind of food items. We have 6 different rights which a consumer can exercise when he is purchasing or when he is negligently purchasing adulterated foods or any food items. Now the first thing is right to know. Right to know. Second is right to question about the quality, purity, potency, and all other standards of the said food product. Third is choice. So the Consumer Protection Act, it clearly mandates that choices should be available for a consumer while purchasing any goods or services. So which clearly tells that a consumer should not be forced to purchase one single product if he is not given a choice. So for example, we are purchasing a product, a good Pepsodent, which is a paste. Now few of us will be using the Pepsodent paste and few of us will be using Colgate, few of us will be using Sibaka and all other paste items. Now it is the role of the consumer authority to ensure that the choice of the product is available in the market. That is, no consumer should be forced to purchase only the one product which is being sold out in the market. For example, no industries or no shop like seller should force a consumer to purchase only the Pepsodent toothpaste. So the point which we must understand here is consumers should be given with the choices. For example, when it comes to food products, we have many health drinks which we are seeing in the televisions and all other advertisements. Now, Food Safety Standards Authority of India, it not only ensures the quality and standard of the product, but it also mandates the avoidance of misleading advertisements which is being seen in today's advertisements. In many of the famous health drinks, there was an assurance like the product, if you are consuming this health drink, then the kids will be growing taller, stronger, and sharper. So this is one kind of advertisements which we have realized when we are noticing the television. Apart from this, many health drink, it says that this health drink is equivalent to the food item. Now, if we are noticing such malicious advertisements, it can be reported such malicious advertisements or such misleading advertisements can be reported as a claim under the Consumer Protection Act 2019, because the 2019 Act, it makes it clear, right? None of the manufacturer or a seller should advertise his product which is misleading the consumers. So if we are consuming this product, if we are eating this products, we will get health, we will be getting stronger, or we'll be having such what is it the health benefits. So if it is in such a mode, then such misleading advertisements will be condemned, or it will be punished according to the provisions of Consumer Protection Act 2019. So none of the manufacturers, that is the food products or food item manufacturer, should advertise his food item in a manner which is in a form of misleading advertisement. So if such advertisement is in the form of misleading advertisement, then such company can be chargeable within the provisions of Consumer Protection Act 2019. So the concepts which we have discussed in the previous few minutes are very clear, that when it comes to food adulteration or food safety and its standards, we must ensure the quality. One. Second is the quantity, that is the level. Third thing is price. Fourth is expiry date, and fifth is the ingredients which a manufacturer has used in the said food product. So each and everything should be observed from the label of the product. Apart from the food adulteration, apart from the facade, like apart from the functions, there is one more function which is being performed by the facade, that is Food Safety Standards Authority of India. What does it tell? Now, the food safety standards of Food Safety Standards Authority of India, it also ensures that the food product or food items which were manufactured in a packet must bear the symbol green dot, which clearly ensures that this product is made up of vegetable fats or vegetable oils, and there is no non-veg or there is no non-vegetable non-veg items which is mixed in this product. So this green dot, it indicates the quality which is purely in the form of vegetarian. So all those things is most essential when it comes to food adulteration. And in celebrating this particular day, World Consumer Rights Day, that is March 15, we must always realize that when it comes to who is a consumer is all of us, because every one of us are giving our penny and we are purchasing a product. Now, while purchasing a product or availing any services, we have limited liability to understand the terms and conditions, that is the warranties which were given in the manufacturing, the manufacturing and all other items. Now, the terms and conditions or warranties which were fixed by the companies, the manufacturing companies, it clearly tells that in the terms and conditions, the manufacturer will be liable only for the manufacturing defect and not for any willful negligence or willful conduct of the purchaser, that is the buyer. So this terms and conditions or warranties, it makes it clear that a consumer, when he is buying a product or availing any services, he must understand that the manufacturing company will be liable for defect or any deficiency in service only in the case of manufacturing and all other defects. Apart from manufacturing defect, that is in the case of willful negligence of the consumer, then the liability of the manufacturer will be limited, which means that he will not bear any kind of liability under the scope of Consumer Protection Act 2019. So first thing is, for willful negligence or misconduct of the consumer, willful negligence or misconduct, the manufacturer will not be liable. So this is what the terms and conditions, that is the warranty card which you are getting from a company, tells. Secondly, when it comes to understanding our right as a consumer, consumer advocacy, that is consumer awareness, plays as a vital role. So I request all the participants in this meeting, in this program, to create awareness to your friends, to your parents, to your siblings, to your neighbors, to understand the rights of consumers and right to question or right to know. Right? This is most essentially important for the purpose of promoting consumer awareness. So first is consumer must have a courage to question the manufacturer, that is manufacturer or seller, regarding the quality, because when it comes to food items, when the quality of the food item is less, then it may have an adverse effect in your health. So apart from all other goods, for example electronic items or electrical items, it will not be a big threat to our life. But when it comes to food items, the food item which we are consuming, it may create an adverse effect in your health, which may lead to death in certain circumstances. For example, if a person is consuming an expired product, it may lead to any kind of disaster to that human being. For example, we are purchasing medicine from a medical shop which was expired before 3 months. But without noticing the said thing, we are purchasing a product and we are consuming. Then it may lead to, it may lead to lethal deaths. It may lead to lethal consequences. That is, it may also result in death of a person when we are consuming the expired product. So first thing is, as a prudent consumer, you must create awareness. You must be aware of all the rights which a consumer is getting under the Consumer Protection Act 2019. Second most thing is right to question. Consumer must have a courage to question the manufacturer or seller when he is purchasing the product. It is not like we are in the digitalized world and we are making everything in an online mode, like online shoppings. But however, even the online shopping products may also be expired product to certain extent. So kindly understand these two things for in your mind. One is, just understand what the terms and conditions or warranty card of the said product or service tells. So the warranty card, it clearly stipulates the liability of the manufacturer when he is selling a product. So first thing, as a prudent consumer, what you must educate to your parents, to your colleagues, to your neighbors is that to read the terms and conditions in the warranty card. While purchasing the product, what the company might tell us, while bringing this warranty card, we'll be giving you free service or we will be replacing the product. But they will not be telling any conditions which will be sticked on to the said warranty card. So it is our duty to be aware of the terms and conditions which the said product is indicating. One. Second most thing is right to question, right to consumer awareness. These two things are most essential, because if we are more like, if we have more awareness as a prudent consumer, then there will not be any kind of frivolous disasters, or there will not be any consumer complaints throughout the world. So the only remedy which a prudent consumer can overcome throughout his life is that, one is to read the terms and conditions in the product. Second is to notice the expiry and all other dates within the product. And third thing is a right to question about the product, or right to question to the manufacturer. So, with this few words, I would like to conclude my speech by telling that consumer awareness is the most pertinent thing which is needed right now. So, create awareness among your family members, among your neighbors, colleagues, and your your consumer club, for the purpose of ensuring awareness among all different fields of people, right? Be it a rich people or a poor people, everyone is paying a single penny, paying his hard-earned money for purchasing or consuming a product. So such consumed product should bear all the quality, quantity, and purity, because we are paying a money. So it is our duty to understand that the product which we are consuming is healthier. So these are most important for our discussion with respect to food adulteration and all other standards. So I thank the Krishnaswamy College for Women, the Consumer Club, which has played an active role in promoting consumer awareness through this particular program. And I also thank all other staffs who have been supportive in organizing this program and to create awareness among the consumers. So, myself, Anand Kumar, I'm a faculty in the Satyabama Institute of Science and Technology, who is teaching law subjects for the law students. And I have also served as a research associate in a central government project headed by the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, Government of India. So, with that limited exposure, I have given you a gross outline about the definition of the term consumer, the role of consumers when it comes to the FSI, that is when it comes to food safety standards and food adulteration. So, with these few words, I would like to end the session now. So, thank you all.